This fight is definitely skippable by hugging that right wall, but dark matter. There we go. Triple kick. That's two of our characters that are really online. Luca doesn't have the best stuff, but maybe we'll get the ideal thing. I think would be getting a gate key out of Hecarim Cave, because then we go unlock magic and we're good to go.
That'd be the whole game open right there. Knowing the pendants on bridge and gate key in Hecarim, that'd be really early.
All in, having some levels, having some more techs. Head back to do the bridge. Flea is a tough fight here. We are going to want to just kind of save our big stuff, us particularly in the back half of their hit points when they can do the stair counter. However, with 8 MP ethers, it's going to take, a full turn of healing to get another dark matter going. Now, we probably are going to leave Luca down on purpose, because then we can't trigger the stairs, and that's going to make this fight a lot more sustainable. And then we can just kind of auto attack from here, and as long as we keep our hit points up, I think it's pretty safe at this point. So well managed there. Doing as much damage as we could, and intentionally not healing Luca, so they would go down on the first stair. Oh, we're getting Luca back up in the fight. Those are generous revives. They normally are 50. And I saw 147. If we find a weapon that rolls with the Robo Crisis effect, that's huge for having that 7-digit revive. Alright, Aku is through. We'll be getting a peek at a fresh key item. The Chrono Trigger. So that goes with the pendant to be 2 of the 3 items for the future go mode, which is going to take us up Death Peak and through Black Omen to eventually fight Zeal and Zeal 2, which will get us the win there. Aku doing their own bridge check. That lack of shopping has kind of let them get a check ahead here, I would say, in the early going.
It almost makes sense that Aku hasn't done his shopping trip yet, because knowing that you're starting with less gold, you kind of need to go do some fights and get some money and some items to sell anyways before you go shopping. So this way I think he's more prepared when he hits a shop to actually be able to do something with it.
Yeah, this Gigamune fight is going to be a tricky one still, just because it's not necessarily about the damage output, but more like the sustainability. If we are in a longer fight and our MP gets low, we're not going to be able to auto attack. So it's kind of as we get later in a tournament, a lot of times as runners are really looking for small places that we can find an edge. Where can I cut a little bit off here, a little bit off there. So risk tolerance is a big thing for racing. Since we've seen a couple of pieces, yeah, it's probably, and we're seeing a fight that we'll keep our eye on here. So there's 3 different ways to finish the game here. We've got the Magus Castle Go mode. If you find both pieces of the sword, forge them together, have us a frog in the party. We go through there and Magus Castle into Ocean Palace to fight Lavos. Do you want to talk about the other two Go modes
Sure.
that are there on the table?
Yeah, for anyone watching, if you're looking at the tracker, you can see on Aku's side, he's got 2 characters lit up on the top row on the far left. That's Luca and Marl. The 9 squares underneath those 2, including Chrono's column, is our Go mode items. So the top row is the bent hilt and the bent sword, and then Melkor, who forges them together. Below that is the gate key, the dreamstone, and the ruby knife, if you're reading from left to right. Those 3 items together will unlock Tyranno Lair in Prehistoria, allowing you to get access to 12,000 BC, where you get to Zeal Palace and Ocean Palace after that.
Well put. Little hotel stay. I did see that there were some mid-ether drops on the bridge on the way. That's going to be big for all in. Because dark matter is very powerful. It's just very expensive in P. Especially at this point in the game, where ethers only restore 8. So even if we had bought them...
Looks like En was able to make it past the bridge and pick up his pendant. Is that correct? Or did he not make it?
I'm going to have to double check. I was looking away a little bit. The fact that they have the mid-ethers in their inventory...
Nope, he's got the pendant in his inventory, so he's got it.
Me to believe, that we're good to go on that. So they did get through. It was definitely... It wasn't a free fight, even with going and getting those extra tech points in the levels. And I like coming here to the desert for both power. Oh, I wonder if they're going to go up Denadoro, because if I was thinking about doing Hecarim next, I would probably... And this is Fit's thoughts, so keep that in mind. But I would probably come here, because that Denadoro boss is harder than the bridge fight. And then I would be I'm a little bit worried about our juice in the party right now. Oh, because All-In doesn't have dark matter yet. That's probably what we're looking for here, is we need a little bit of a better screen clear.
But En doing the desert because he's got ice too?
Great levels. It's the highest of like tier items. So if we want to do some shopping, this is a great way to kind of loot some stuff that we can sell for money, even if it's just to pick up some more shelters and revives.
Looks like Aku picked up his pendant as well and is going straight to turn that in.
Yeah,
The way the pendant works in Rando is if you go to Guardia Castle 1000 AD, there's a NPC that we've added that's just to the left of the stairs, as you saw. You can walk up to them and it'll trigger the trial sequence, because in the vanilla game, Chrono is accused of stealing the pendant. But in this case, it'll be whoever's in that first party slot that'll go into the trial sequence and go through all of that. So Aku sent Magus into jail, and I'm pretty sure it'll be a pretty quick jailbreak for him to get out.
Indeed. I think, like, stylistically, between our two runners here, Aku known for being pretty aggressive and very capable at, like, executing well where they're, like, kind of at or below the, like, power of the checks that they ride that fine line. I think All-In stylistically likes to... Oh, we are... Okay, interesting. Gain power quickly early, and that allows us to clear checks faster than potentially someone that's doing it, like right at the power level that's kind of like, possible to be able to get through a fight. And and it kind of depends. Like both styles are viable, and they both like work. And so I think I'll be interested to see how that kind of plays out over the course of the race, because they're both very good at execution. You know, both like outside of battle and in battle, but definitely race a little bit stylistically differently. That being said, I imagine after finding the chrono trigger, that All In will also be heading to do the trial. I think all right, predictions. How many Fritzes are going to get saved? I predict... I was going to say 0, to be perfectly honest. Because without Chronos, we can't get the reward. Aku may actually go get all of the chests and not save Fritz, which would be... That's my guy.
It would have been funny if he'd have gotten everything and then skipped Fritz.
That's actually... I was going to... Like, if I was going to bet before the race, I would have bet on 0 for 2. So it warms my heart that we've gotten 1. It is one of the, so like we can get the reward if we have Chrono in the party, which is 10 mid-ethers. And I get to continue the broadcast because my ancestor has been spared. Ooh, a little bump there. That's okay.
Aku trying to show off a skip in between the 2 shields in the jail cell. There's a couple pixels you've got to walk between them. Just a little bit to the left. And has to do the fight.
Yeah, we're seeing Flea, but with a party that has taken a different path to get here. And so having the
dark matter
desert levels, we're outputting about 1,000 damage between our 2 party members, which is probably just enough to take Flea down after this dark matter. Assuming, everyone will be up. It's definitely a little bit of a faster Flea fight and an example of like seeking power early, making up time later in the scene. I think, from a race standpoint, it's still pretty tough to call right now of, who is like ahead holistically. I think we can see Aku is ahead because they're at the boss of, they're like a check ahead, I guess. They're finishing like 1 more place that All In hasn't been. But All In has more information, and I think they're higher level right now. And this is not a joke of a fight either, because the Dragon Tank Spot has 3 parts of hit points, but they're all combined into the face because the hands are not like they revive. Those okay, that's a lot weaker than I thought this was gonna be. So this might be not as nasty as I thought. I thought these attacks were, ooh, that one's a little rougher. So there's about 4,000 hit points in the head we have to get through. And the hands
and
are
doing
pretty...
some shopping, buying some extra shelters, selling off some unnecessary equipment.
Get off the pendant. Yeah. Having that desert loot means having the cash to be able to stock up before we head to the future. Everyone's sending Magus. It does check out. They're pretty fast. They got fire too and whatnot to deal with guards. A speed belt, a speed tab,
and dark bomb. Pretty sure N picked up his trigger, but he might have just come straight up to the trial sequence.
Yeah, because he would the heck.
These runners are so fast.
So he's got his time egg. That is a good point. Ayla can just punch everything in here because she's fast enough without the speed tab. So just auto attack all the guards. And it's also funny when it's like, oh, you don't have a weapon. Or I guess they don't even take your weapon. This is one where it's everyone's still got their stuff. So we're into the future. That unlocks a few things. One, we've charged up the pendant, so we can open those sealed doors and sealed chests, which tend to have better loot overall. In addition to the future, we have a character that we can go check. We can complete the factory to unlock the end of time and unlock magic. And then there are 3 new dungeons that we can go do. Do you want to talk about those?
Sure. 3 dungeons in the future. Aristome, which is the first one you'd get to in the vanilla game, where you'd go into the cellar to find some seeds. There's also, not Protodome. Above Protodome is the factory, which is the backdoor way to get to the end of time, in case you don't have the gate key. And then there's Geodome, which is my most hated place, and I will not go there for any reason, unless the seed forces me to, and it doesn't, ever.
Yeah, it is longer. It is more. It's higher level. I would say for me, the conditions need to be right. Like, I want to have. I want to have, a screen clear character with at least 13 speed before I really consider going there, because if we a robo, okay. Yeah, as long as we save at least 50% of the fritzes in the past, then enough of the timeline is preserved that I still exist. But when the number gets below that, old photos of me, I start fading in. It's like it's like a Back to the Future. It's not like I immediately disappear, but like I do. So it's important.
Heal beam, laser beam, and shock on Robo.
Shock is a good heal. He's one of our AoE healer. I don't know if he's getting into the party just based on that.
Yeah, Robo generally has lower speed, so it's one of those. Do you want to trade your speed for
the ribbon? And
potentially an AoE heal? Oh yeah, Robo's ribbon. I'd probably swap him in right now.
A big damage boost.
We also have the Team No Match, Robo, Ayla, and Magus, none of which need to go to the end of time to learn more magic, so all of their techs are unlocked from the beginning.
But based on the use of tabs by Aku, that's not. Nope, we're keeping Luke in, which, again, like, if we're gonna lock magic maybe sometime eventually. This is the fastest future dungeon we can check. This is a terrible boss.
Yep.
That, I think it's gonna be a big problem.
So N fighting Giga Guy on the bridge, and Aku in Sun Palace fighting Dalton Plus.
The Sun Palace spot, obviously, Vanilla has Son of Sun. It's at least 5,000 hit points in this spot. It's gonna be a fast boss. It's gonna hit pretty hard. Dalton, yeah, I think it's more like 6,500. Dalton's gonna counter every attack with something, and then after 2 rounds of the orbs, they start hitting with the bad orbs. I don't think it's doable with our. It's like a hit point problem. It's like we either need to have great AoE healing, like a stack of lapises, and someone's dedicated to just like keeping everyone alive. I like the attempt though. You got to see But I think there was just too much DPS and not enough damage output to pull that off yet. Oh. Seeing some shopping. Got some shelters, got some ethers. So we've got our Airstone. Easier boss. In terms of hit points here. You know, gotta go in, talk to the guy, catch the rat. There's also a sealed door in the back that will have better loot than the other sealed doors. Atropos, not too scary of a fight. Probably gonna go down pretty quickly. All in, gonna be picking up their Robo. Now they don't have Luca, so they might have a tougher decision here. Although Marl has ice too. Not looking good. I mean, we want to look at the text before deciding finally, but I also just noticed, kind of looking at it, that like All In has got 2 levels, you know, advantage over Aku right now. So that'll be something interesting to keep our eye on, as we're also going to go learn the bad news. He's got a red vest. He's got a ruby vest. If we like go with the ice attacks only and use Magus as like a healer, this might be doable. Just with that little difference, but Marl has re-raise on her as well.
Aku making quick work of Atropos. A 3-on-1 fight is much more easy than a 1-on-1 fight in vanilla. And trying his hand at Dalton Plus.
I think this is still going to be a very tough fight, but I think All In is like 10% better equipped for it. That is, you know, I wouldn't say it's super encouraging, but it's really like having raised the fact that they happen to have like 2/3 of the party that have like fire resist or absorb on. Means that we can kind of use that counter to like our advantage potentially. Okay, we're starting to get into the bad physical attack part of the Dalton script.
But Dalton is one of the cheesable bosses. Is that a word? Where if you know his script and you know how he does his attacks, you can sort of bait him into doing what you want instead of doing what you don't want him to do.
Yeah, and All In, by staying and only using physical attacks, it's always going to use this Iron Orb, which is a single target and won't down anyone. And then they kind of just need to manage around the orbs that we're doing here, the death orbs.
Yeah, those hurt.
So as long as we can kind of keep picking people up. Yeah.
Marl does have re-raise, so that's a free pickup. But I don't know if either of our runners remember that that's a skill that she's got.
As long as the MP doesn't run out on us. Now, I think we're back in weak orbs, yeah. So we have a couple of turns to sort of recover here before we get in trouble again.
Yep. Aku about to get the key item from Aristome. Let's see what he gets. Bent sword.
quick rest. Still hungry. Now we're busting out some re-rays. Yeah, just gotta keep Ayla going. This will be slow, but I think they've got the plan here.
So the most clutch this could be for N is the clone, because that puts him straight into go mode.
Yeah, the clone would be big, and I think they could just go, probably.
Yep. Aku going back to the desert to do some farming and item pickups. Oh, he's got Robo, so he's probably going to do this boss as well.
They can actually finish it.
And get the key item from it.
This is probably their next fastest check available. You know, we talked about Genodome being like a commitment. That, you know, they're not ready for adult revisit.
Denadoro is quick. It just depends on the boss at the top. I mean, you got to run some screens, but everybody here knows the skips, so it's a 2-minute walk up the mountain, and then you got a boss fight.
That is true. The rewards there are just not as great, though. So if we were looking for like gear, even just to sell and like shop more, desert makes sense. And also the boss here is 4,000 experience and like 40 tech points. So that's like a much bigger reward.
And was able to clear that boss and gets a ruby knife as his reward. And Aku finds Son of Suns in the desert.
We're going to the Genodome. Love it. Son of Sun. Yeah. Find the right one. Hit it several times. There's weird quirks that, like, if Ayla has Tailspin, you can, like, it's all about just being able to do a certain amount of damage to, like, the eye, and then it goes away. And so you can use the Tailspin to, like, make it happen faster. It will counter every time with, like, flare when you do it, so it's not really... It's just a weird quirk of Tailspin, just ignoring magic defense. It means you can use it to just do normal damage to Son of Stun, but Aku's got it locked in, and I think is geared up enough.
Yeah, I don't see him having any trouble with that. Son of Stun is a pretty easy fight. Even with very minimal fire resistance, you can control the damage output pretty easily.
Yeah, I like the Genodome move here. Like, it is the most experience and rewards that All In has available for a dungeon. It is a bigger commitment, but I think we're early enough in the race that it's not detrimental to make that commitment. It feels a little bit off meta, but sometimes I think the meta is just whatever the players decided to be at the time.
Yeah, and the comfort level of the player makes a difference too. I'm not very comfortable with Genodome, but N's probably going to show off the cool get to the charging door on the top side in one run. So let's see how well he does it.
Yeah, I try to factor that in where it's like, I'm not the most like consistent in getting the skip, but if you come here early enough, like the extra reward of, you know, doing it quote unquote like the long way, I mean, it's just more levels and more stuff if you actually go down and do like the way that it's intended. So it's kind of like, it's again, by coming here early enough, it doesn't feel bad if it doesn't like pay out with like the clone. There are certainly things that would grant a groan from me as the runner if I found here, like I mean, it's obviously the jerky is the big one. We've seen the ribbon.
Sunstone or Moonstone would be pretty rough to find also.
Yeah, that would be rough because it's just like, well, that's useless right now. But at least it still could be There was a vigil hat in one of those sealed chests I saw for Aku. That's a nice, pretty nice to have if we end up having to fight Lavos.
Yep. I think you got a ruby armor as well, so we got a pretty good haul out of those sealed chests. And we'll see what the key item is that we get from here. The suspense.
Booting.
Bent Hills.
Well, we need to find a frog, and unfortunately, the viewers, with all the information now,
Yep.
frog is in the past. Aku can check the burrow and learn the chronos there, but yeah, gotta find that. They need the gate key in order to complete Magus Castle. It does unlock, yeah, but we can get an item from Tabin for forging the Mass Immune. And we probably might have to do it anyway, but that does seem like it was a play for... What are we getting? A rainbow sickle.
Rainbow sickle plus 2.
Huge.
Oh my goodness.
Magus, of course, being incredibly dependent. Oh, here we go. No, this is just part 1. I like this. This is a good warm-up of, like, how am I feeling with my movement. Now we're going for the real one. There's a lot of steps here that happen in real time, but it's basically about having very particularly clean movement so that...
Ooh,
and
so
I
close.
think there we are a little bit... It's just like a very small thing, like rubbing a wall a little bit. Not...
Yep.
Hitting the conveyor belt perfectly well.
So Aku, having picked up both sword pieces, decides to go check the burrow and sees a chrono. Not as happy about that.
There we go. Very nice. Second try. Do a little robot wrangling.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool skip that I only learned about doing the randomizer, that you can drag that other robot through the wall.
Yeah.
I think M's going to show it off here.
Yeah, run and get that speed tab while you're waiting. Robot wrangling also not easy.
See a question in chat. Do you have to have completed Heckman's Cave to get the Mass Immune item from Tabin? So if I recall correctly, Tabin has 3 items. You get the key item from completing Heckman's Cave. There's the Mass Immune item, which is after completing the Mass Immune. And then there is the last item that you get after you get the Charged Sunstone, I believe it is.
Ooh. Revenge.
And Aku going back to fight Dalton Plus. He doesn't know it's a ruby knife yet. Maybe he's hoping it's a clone.
Well, they do have much, but more power, better gear, 1 revive.
So I think one thing that's interesting here, right? I think Aku has the knowledge of, he knows Frog is in the past, and he has both pieces of a go mode here. At 51 minutes, he could go through Factory to unlock the back door of Protodome to get access to Prehistoria that way, or the End of Time.
Mm-hmm.
Does that get you to Prehistoria from there? I think it does, right?
No, that would only unlock Mount Woe.
Oh, that's right. So no, yeah, you need the gate key in order to get to Frog. So never mind.
It's really like Dinodoro's the check we haven't seen.
Yep.
And
Watch clone
sometimes
be on Dinodoro. I'm calling it now. Clone's on Dinodoro.
it's very. There's always the like, when do I go deeper, you know, and like continue to follow items like farther in, or when do I go back and make sure I've like cleared what was open from the very beginning? And that's like, Dinodoro is kind of the one that like, it feels like the longer we put it off, the less like, the more likely it is we're going there last. And so I try to be aware of that, and sometimes like check in to be like, okay, but what else have I not like?
Yep. I've had a couple runs as practice where I've last located Dinodoro, and it was my go mode item, and I was like, man, I could have had this 40 minutes ago. But we'll see. And fighting a Terra Mutant in the Mother Brain spot.
Yeah, I think this is definitely pretty doable. Certainly one of the more challenging bosses that can roll into a spot. Ayla has Tailspin, so
He gets 2 out of 3 mutants we've seen, right?
Contribute, yeah. Yeah, we've seen Flea and Dalton Plus. We've seen a lot of the, you know, more challenging ones here. Oh, I'm gonna look at chat here. Predicted. Phone plays is correct. Prism Shard is fast. Like, especially, there used to be a little, you know, more of a cutscene. It is also peekable. Obviously we have to go and like turn it in, but I think it makes sense to go there from here. But this is one of those points of like when do we go to Dinodoro? Like, how well do I know my opponent? Do I know that they're gonna skip it just as long as I am? It's like, Aku's going. I was like, no, we gotta check here before we go any deeper. Unfortunately, All In is coming to the desert, which is, it makes sense from the, I'm already in 600 AD. I had to come in here to turn the Prism Shard in for part 1. I might as well do this one. Like, it's fast, it makes sense. We're gonna get a sword piece, right?
Yep. Yeah, you spend a lot of time thinking about, is there a boss that I can get to quickly? Am I strong enough to be able to kill whatever boss is in that spot? So, N coming in here to fight one fight compared to potentially running through Guardia Basement and finding a worse boss, like, it makes sense. So, we'll see who finds some stuff sooner as Aku makes his way up Dinodoro, and N is taking on Son of Suns.
Yeah, I think we touched on this. This is always a good place to highlight, you know, what we call the encounter skip. So in Chrono Trigger, there are certainly like visible encounters like that hammer guy. That's like, if you don't touch hammer guy, you don't get fight. Then there are invisible ones that if we navigate, like particularly, like this screen is about clean movement, pretty much. This next one is free. There's no encounters. Get a little breather. And then this one, yeah, by moving up a little bit and to the right, Aku avoids 2 encounters. By moving up before left, we avoid, what is it, 4 fights in this screen?
4 fights and maybe 5 or 6 minutes of time.
We hit this one.
Oh!
We can use the bottom or top. I've seen it done with the top ramp too. I don't know how to do it with that one.
I'm pretty consistent with the bottom ramp, but yeah.
Yeah. Some of the skips are like using ramps to do diagonal movement because the encounter is triggered by like inputting left. And so if you use a ramp to go down and left by only pushing down, then we can skip.
No! Why did Aku not talk to him? But the mountains are so nice!
+2 is tempting, but that's another one of those, like,
We gotta add that to the tracker.
gotta save time. Ooh, a Brock. So we touched on gear rando. I've tried to point it out every now and then, but the rocks are considered high tier relics, and that means basically the higher tier an item is, the better effects can roll onto it if it's plus. And so like a silver rock plus is going to have some sort of high tier relic effect. It could be haste, it could be sunshade effect, it could be a whole smattering of awesome things in addition to granting access to like a triple tech. Only gonna get their news that Robo forged half a sword while he was replanting the forest.
Is that like when you put a grain of sand into an oyster and it becomes a pearl after a couple decades, right?
Yeah, exactly. All right, all in, going straight into the trial. Not going to take the time to preview the reward here. In the old days, so to speak, and that's, relative, but there was a time we had to go down into like the basement, get the like piece of the prism shard, and then come back up and do the second cutscene. But thankfully, to kind of balance it out a little bit, the developers took out some of that so that you can go down and preview what the reward is, or you can just come straight up here and immediately do this boss and then go down and get it. So we're gonna get some new knowledge here. Denadoro is the hero medal, which we can turn in for another check. So it's kind of like a push. It's like, it's not bad news yet, nor is it good news yet. Elder Spawn.
Jerky.
Getting a little protect up on Marl. Is that gonna... She does survive. Nice move. The jerky for real. Heartbreak. Now we did have a new sighting. Yeah, all in using some pretty good knowledge here of the fact that Elder Spawn only does single target counters. And so knowing like cube toss is their strongest move, putting the protect status up on Marl so she can survive a hit. No, is there going to be a... We don't really have weapon using characters. Nova armor -1. Did it keep its protect?
I'm waiting for him to look at it. I don't know if he's going to.
Well, because
it's for males.
It does.
Oh, it has the protect still. Yep.
It's just lower defense than regular Nova armor. It would allow to move the Vigil hat over someone else to get more status protection going on, which we're seeing. So that gives us 3 because we got a free amulet magus. So status protection, very important if we're gonna fight Lavos. We don't know yet. So we'll see, but we're about to find out.
Let's see. And about to go pick up a...
It's the gate key. So the gate key, we can go to Medina Village, hop through a cabinet, maybe have some cake along the way. And that will grant us access to prehistory there and the end of time. So all in will be able to unlock magic show if they choose. They will be able to do the reptile lair. They will be able to go get the character that is on top of Dactyl Nest, which we know is Frog. They have a pretty good idea that it's either Frog or Luca. But they also don't know where the other sword piece is. So they don't necessarily have a reason to go look.
Aku picked up his chrono, by the way.
Oh, we're coming back for...
Coming back for a third round of Dalton Plus.
I'm trying to think of, because we've seen the jerky. The Moonstone's still in the pool. So if Reptile Lair is the Moonstone, then yeah, Woe would have whatever is left of the Go Mode items, which would have to be the Dreamstone, right? Or the Clone? Well, the Moonstone could... Anyway, I'm getting... This is where let's not worry about it. The what ifs. We'll see what's actually going on as we see another Dalton visit here. A little bit more power than last time. Not surprising that All In, having already done Geno Dome, is not in a rush to go to Mount Woe. No one wants to do both in the same seed. It's just a lot of time, and doing both yields too many rewards that we don't need to go fast. But it all depends on what shows up here and when All In decides they want to go to Danadora. Question from chat: did we visit Specchio? We have not. We went.
No, I don't think anybody has been to End of Time yet at all.
Yeah, straight to Reptide. Do not unlock magic.
I mean, this is a pretty good chance of being Dreamstone or Clone, so N might be in Go Mode here after this.
Yeah, not exactly a tough boss here, because the vanilla hit points are going to get split 4 ways. I think 1 cube toss is going to finish this fight.
Yeah, most likely. And if it doesn't, then a Dark Matter will finish it off. Nope, there they go.
So we know where everything but the pop, the Dreamstone.
Commentator's curse.
The clone. And Moonstone is. So the chain continues. Oh. Looks like we're gonna go factory to woe. Nicely done. Skipping that opening encounter.
For sure.
We do have lightning, which does make getting through these required fights in factory a lot faster. So mid-tonics were 294. Pretty good. So Giant's Claw, it features... There's a lot of power tabs, but they only rolled +2, so I don't know if we're seeking any of them out. There is a rock that we can pick up along the way, which might have something nifty on it. Oh? We're going back for it. Barrier. Decent, but not the best.
Yeah, the accessory SWAT is pretty prime. So, rocks taking up one is not necessarily a bad thing, but only certain characters can use them anyways.
Aku finishing up here, putting in the password. Nice. Hacked. Holland has reached the bottom. And we have a
Yakra.
A Yakra. Not too rough of a spot. I don't think we'll have an issue. Really, having been through, doing Genodome, getting all that experience and whatnot, there's not a ton that can stand in our way generally after doing one of those sort of higher end dungeons, but it's also
We've also seen a lot of the harder bosses in the early section of the game as well, fighting 2 out of 3 mutants and Dalton already.
Yeah, knowing some of that stuff's out of the pool is nice. It was a regular slash. But I think with Ayla's firepower, this will be no problem. Let's see what the clone.
There it is.
Our first go mode getting lit up at 110:30-ish for all in. This will give us that Black Omen go mode, so we have to go to the future, talk to the new bot, deploy the dolls, run up the mountain, hold the egg to the sky on the summit of Death Peak, which will summon the Black Omen, and we go through that, beat a bunch of bosses, beat up Zeal, beat up Z2, Mammoth Machine, Zeal 2, finish the game. So, Black Omen Go mode is one of the Go modes that doesn't have like a natural repeatable grind spot, but it also just has a lot of experience like along the way. So I think All In is probably set up pretty well to run through here. And chat kind of pointing out, like, because we know where the clone is, we can kind of like triangulate what is on Mount Woe. Which is gonna be the Moonstone.
Where's the Dreamstone then?
Behind the Moonstone.
Is Melkor holding that one?
Yeah. Yeah, we really at this point have kind of seen everything the seed has to offer or will. I did roll it. So they should have known in the beginning that it was going to be cursed. And, you know, I would say, in my defense, that the healing item rolled high for the most part. So
healing items rolled high, and they had a screen clear pretty early on. Marl starting with Ice 2 and Magus starting with Fire 2 is not bad.
It could have been worse. I'm sure they'll disagree with me in the post-race chat, but, you know. So yeah, Death Peak is pretty short. I mean, we definitely have seen most of the encounters skipped already. There's some in this room here. There's one on this part right here. There's one on the way out that I always forget to skip if I skipped it on the way in. This one coming up is just be greedy for the chest, and we'll always get that skip. But yeah, one boss to go. Oh no, I didn't even say it out loud. Can I curse someone by thinking something?
Apparently.
That bridge is slippery, especially after an hour and 15 of racing. The thing is like, you know, we as the viewers, you know, we now know who's first to go mode, who is in the front, but the racers themselves have no idea. So it can be very easy to talk oneself into feeling like they're behind, right? Or like, you know, of like being like, you know, well, what if like, you know, they found the faster path, or like All In doesn't have all the information either. Like, maybe there was a faster path, but yeah, I think it was a little bit of the styles that All In seeking a little bit more early power like paid off in a way that potentially if like the boss placements were a little bit different, it wouldn't have paid off. So it's kind of like, it is a randomizer and stuff is random, so I always try to focus on what I can actually contribute to with my execution, like what's in my control, versus like sometimes races are lost because I picked different places, right? You know, so however, this is like the upper, just from like to zoom out a little bit, we watch Aku run up Mount Woe and All In finish, which I think is going to be a very fast fleet plus fight here. Neither of these runners have lost yet in the tournament, so no one's going to be out, right? So there's a little bit of a cushion sometimes. That can be good or bad, depending on, I don't know, like the mental game. I find I race a little bit better with my back to the wall. Or at least I'm more willing to like take chances, be riskier, that sort of thing. But
so even though N is in go mode already and will enter Black Omen shortly. This race is not over yet.
Yeah, indeed. Like finishing the game is not free by any means. Like especially with having the lower gear flag, like not that no one's really running a very gear dependent party. But like, you know, there's no sunshades or prism specs kicking around right now. Like we don't have power overwhelming. Like there's still gonna be execution needed to get through kind of that final boss gauntlet. I'll be curious like what of the optional fights All In chooses to like take versus skip, because sometimes those like small decisions too can add up, because the go modes are not like 5 minutes long, right? Like there's quite a bit of time track, so to speak, left before the finish line. Yeah, it looks like Aku did take a rubble. Probably looking to see if they drop something super cool, because they can. But it looks like for the most part they're, you know, feeling comfy about their power level, skipping fights. Yeah, so they're trying to move here pretty quickly. Did we get swag tab? It looks like
I think you
I
can grab
didn't
it.
see
Yep.
him go for it. He got it afterwards. So I went for it in my race and I messed it up. So there's like a because I was feeling good. There's a power tab over there. It is possible to get it and make it to the next tree, but I feel like there's a saying about luck being where preparation meets opportunity or something like that. But
yep.
Yeah, like there's definitely some things to consider getting set up for Black Omen Go mode. We want to make sure, like generally the elements of AoE that we're looking for are ice and fire, because there are some of the fights in here that lightning and or shadow don't work. These goons in particular are one of those. Magus can be positioned with Black Hole to get through pretty well, but I think we've sped up Marl enough that we got a golem boss here.
Golem boss on the top of Mount Woe.
A lot of times will joke hardest boss in the game and try to, you know, really sell it as like a serious situation, but they're completely free. If we do nothing, we will win. But it's usually faster to just fire everything at them and get through it. But kind of back to All In here. It's really, yeah, like looks like we're running a lot too, because there are encounters. A lot of encounters have to run into, but the vast majority of them we can also run away from. And so there's a little bit of that, like on the micro level, fight to fight, which ones are we taking, which ones are we skipping. Because Zeal 2 is really about knowing how much power we have, particularly like single target damage. Here we go, some eye orbs.
Aku gets his moonstone. which he can't even turn in.
Because he doesn't have his gate key.
And the gate key is locked behind the prism shard from Genodome. Yep. I saw chat talking about it earlier, but my brain didn't capture all of that logic. Everything is locked behind Genodome.
It's like I've always said, always go to Genodome. Have I said that before? No, but it's clearly the way.
So would I have forfeited this seed knowing that I had to go to Genodome to make any more progress?
I would say I would encourage anyone that finds themselves in this situation not to, because you can't. I couldn't assume that my opponent isn't on the exact same journey. Now we know that that's not the case, but it could be. And so, like, if that's the case, you're still in the race. But now, after a race like this, as soon as I saw it done, would I necessarily want to finish myself? It depends how I would be feeling, you know. It's not going to be fun for me to finish if I don't feel like I would learn anything from, you know, finishing with this particular party combination, set of gear, whatever. Then, yeah, I might be done with it. It's like, okay, thank goodness. Thank goodness someone finished. Yeah, there's quite a few chests. I think we're getting pretty close to the new shop. After a couple more screens, which in my head is kind of like, I know it's not actually the halfway point, but it just feels kind of like, oh, mermaid caps with rolled with speed +1 on top of. Zeal has that water attack. It's one of her big nasty moves, so having some of those kick around.
Always nice.
We got rainbow sickles. We got a little fun quirk is that because of the way that Ayla's fist will roll in effect, so I just saw that she has a +1 fist. Vigil hat pluses for sale. No. Yeah, we're gonna get a couple of those. The status protection is not as important going into like the Zeal fights as it would be against Lavos. But that being said, there's still a couple of bosses that we haven't seen yet that could do some stuff like that. And it's better than what we have. And that's another thing I've seen make a difference in like a close race. It's like how fast and how much shopping we do in the final shop. Yeah, we're in like the 30s now. All in OB. Sitting at nice levels by the time they get to the back.
Moving and shaking. Going real quick. Aku in Genodome. Prepping for his lightning run.
All right, these shields are one of my favorite. Oh, being rude. They're just seemingly incredibly random. Sometimes I've like run straight at the one and it moves at the last second. Other times, oh, a wonder bow. Since Luca's Wonder Shot has rolled on to Marl's ultimate bow, giving us the Wonder Bow. Let's check that out. +6 magic too. Nice. Magic's that big for increasing damage of magic text. Like, our runners are inputting incredibly quickly, but we can see like the damage formulas, and you know, it's like level plus magic times like a power multiplier for the tech, and so you know, but a +6 magic is a pretty solid power boost.
Yep.
Ooh, Prism Helms with hate.
Hey, Aku was able to get it on technically his first attempt. He had a bit of a hiccup on his first run, so he kind of aborted early, but was able to get it to get to the lightning skip. Kudos to Aku.
For sure, and like I think even that now, like the window is pretty tight, and so along the way a runner can often tell of like, oh, I bonked that wall too hard, it's not happening, even before getting like to the conveyor belt, which is kind of the other place where just gotta hit it at a good angle. So essentially we're spending the least amount of time possible on the actual conveyor belt that's moving through. I'm getting pretty close to like the boss gauntlet. Got a couple more rooms to get through. Nice little encounter skip coming up here. And we're into our first boss of the Black Omen.
A little bit low on ethers, but he should be strong enough to clear it through without too much trouble. With no Lavos fight, I don't think Zeal is too deadly. I mean, she can be deadly, but not to the point where you need to use a lot of ethers on her.
Yeah, it's really like the Zeal 2 fight, it follows a script, and if we have enough power to avoid the nastier stuff in the script, it can be just a very fast and smooth fight.
And he's got a Mega Elixir, which he'll probably save for the halation.
That's true, although as I discovered, you know, even having one of those doesn't save that person from getting dropped by one of the hands before they can throw it. So like there's little sneaky ways that the Zeal fight could go sideways.
Aku showing off some fire tornado
that we have going on. And we've got that haste on Ayla now where she can get like a turn in between a cube toss, which is very nice. I wonder if we'll see any Wonder Bow shots. Oh yeah, we already saw this meme. I was like, we've located our last. No, I forgot it was such a long time ago.
Yep, and has done that already. And making short work of Nizbal. Proceeding higher up the Omen Tower.
Oh, more haste. Got haste specs as well. I just saw the look on when we got the prism shard out of there, which is like, I laugh because I know I've been there. So it's like,
Yeah. You definitely don't want to see more chain quests at 1 hour 30 minutes in. Especially in a top 8 setting, knowing that your opponent is probably pretty close to done. I mean, at least when I run, I'm always up against people who are way better than me, but that's okay. I still have fun.
yeah, it is fun. It is fun to compete in and of itself, and then wins and losses happen. But yeah, I don't know. It's like, I think Jets in Time, there's enough variance in like finish times that it's like, you know, I think at about the hour 30 mark, it's like someone could be done. It can start to enter like the mindset there. I know I personally try not to look at I don't look at the race room, you know, for doneness until typically like I'm entering the transition into like the final boss stage. Usually I can't help but like take a peek to be like, all right, you know, Zeal 2 or Lavos 3, are we in it? Or is it over? But I think everyone's kind of got their own sort of preference and kind of how
the
they
race
deal
room
with it.
exists. The clone is hiding behind Giant's Claw.
Which was the reward for rep type.
Yes, that is correct.
All in, heading for, well, they have one panel fight, and then boss number 2, Aku dealing with their elder spawn fight at trial. Couple blaze kicks and that'll be done. All right. What do we got here? Ooh.
Masa and Mune.
Probably won't present like too much.
Nah,
of a
probably not.
challenge. The haste, having double haste on cube toss. You know, in a longer fight, things always get scarier, and so being able to really pump out damage. Really, getting the haste items is it's really gonna make the risk of something going wrong on Zeal a lot less.
Yep. Aku about to pick up his gate key.
Head shake, indeed. As a head shake situation. Like, where's the logic telling me to go?
Yeah, because getting gate key here, you know that your last 3 checks are 1 each go mode item. Frog being the go mode character, or Magus' Castle go mode, Dreamstone for Tyranno Lair go mode, and then Clone for Black Omen go mode.
More haste specs. Full party haste if we want, and we do. Because haste is that great. Yeah, eventually we can start to get that sort of high-end gear, but with the item flag, we're seeing it much later in the game than we were in the previous rounds. Another Nisbo.
Nisbel 2, son of Nisbel.
It looks like we're gonna see, yeah, Ice 2 Matter, maybe some Tailspin. Maybe Ayla does nothing. All this party is so fast that it's getting several turns in. We haven't seen Nisbo do anything.
Hey, looks like Aku is going to show us the Moonstone.
That'll give us the full bingo board, so to speak.
Then we will have seen literally everything.
Powered up. The only thing about this spot is it does have quite a bit of hit points to get through. But just as I say that, it's over. Or Vigil hat +1s. There's a lot of those floating around.
Yeah, the items this seed have been very generous to them. And Aku taking the 50-50. We know it's a Dreamstone. He's probably thinking it's a 50-50 between Clone or Dreamstone, so we'll see his reaction here in a moment.
Only finishing off this last panel fight, they'll get one final save. They will be entering their final series of Zeal 1, Mammon Machine, Zeal 2.
No reaction from Aku picking up the Dreamstone. Just stone-faced, dedicated to the mission. But he achieves his go mode and will quickly make his way to Tyranno Lair.
Yeah, Tyranno Lair, beat up some dinosaurs, head to the Ice Age to go through Ocean Palace and get a Lavos fight. Get some, particularly against Lavos, we need a little bit of gear ready to go. Zeal 1, not really too scary. They do this halation, which sets our hit points to 1. That is scary, but they'll do it twice before they actually do an attack that can damage us. And it's over.
We'll see if N gets the menu glitch. Hey, looks like he's got it. There's a few frame window in between the Zeal 1 and the Mammon Machine fight where you can open the menu. Not intended, but it's definitely useful. And if you're fighting Lavos, in between Lavos 2 and 3, there's another spot where you can enter the menu to prep before the last fight.
Indeed. There, you can also do it in between the bridge fights as well. That one is a tighter window, I find, but it is possible. There is a flag to extend that time window. And that's featured in kind of like the learning player flag set, but there are some fun consequences of extending that window that just I've seen new players like get into menus and places I never would have thought to try. Because it's just like, oh, I didn't know you could menu in this cutscene, or like.
Yep. Our community has learned a lot from the speedrunning community, and I'm sure they've probably learned a couple things from us as well.
So the Mammon Machine fight here, they kind of charge up and then release their energy, and then they chill for a bit. If we attack them with magic, that increases the damage of like the energy release. If we attack them physically, it increases their defense. And so kind of the plan is, one, don't attack it with physical stuff until after it does the energy release, and then because that like defense increase persists. And then two, generally only attack it with magic 1 or 2 times, because 3 tends to wipe the whole party. So it's a little bit of just like managing the fight correctly. It goes pretty fine. There's also a little consideration of like, do we try to heal up so that we're at kind of full strength coming into this fight? So here we go. ZO2, we got 20k hit points in the head to get through. There we'll run through a script. Once we cross 10,000 hit points of damage, Zeal will queue up that halation attack and then go into like the second half of their script. So generally we want to try to hit that threshold before they start doing their devastating AoE attacks now, which are shadow and or water based. We've seen some mitigation for that kicking around, but I think with our damage output, we are probably not going to see any of the bad stuff. I think we're going halation, mega elixir, Magus is going to get MP busted at some point, and more cube tosses for the win.
Most likely. With as many items as they have, and as much power as they have in both their respective team comps, I'm sure both runners are feeling very confident about their ability to clear bosses and complete the game.
Yeah, particularly that full party haste, having a good speed. We're really seeing All In being able to get an incredible amount of turns in before any of the parts have taken multiple actions. This is where, we're just going. This is where it can get a little spicy, but I think the haste is still gonna, as long as one of the hands go, this Mega Elixir goes off.
Yep. Aku fighting Ret Knight in Tyranno Lair.
And Zeal will always do MP Buster after doing that halation attack to the center party member. So putting Magus in there, they're not the main damage dealer that lets All In keep up the offense. Red Knight, no problem for Aku at this point.
And time will be called as soon as the hand starts to fade. There it is.
Very nice. We've got a race room time of 1:45:58. We saw all the things. We saw a lot of diversions too. And I think we'll be getting All in here for an interview. I think.
Looks like Aku paused his timer as well.
Aku has had enough.
He says, nope. End's finished. This seed's dumb. I'm done.
totally understandable. They were, they had found their path, and I don't think
Yep.
it was with their, again, like their power, having done most of the stuff. But yeah, I'm gonna get it all in up here, and let's get some interviewing going. I'm all in. Welcome, and geez.
Thank you. Hopefully fun for all.
We
You
had a good
definitely
time.
made all of the Genodome enthusiasts very happy.
You know, I even rolled up a practice of Genodome before the seed started, so I'm really glad I did, and got the conveyor skip almost first time.
Pretty much. We'll call that. I think it's good. First time. Yeah,
I was
the
amazed
logic
at how
the
the seed provided so much speed in this, though. I mean, it really made that last fight really easy. So yeah, the logic though, I was really hoping for Black Omen seed, because I felt much more comfortable with this party, with a Marl, Ayla, Magus party against Black Omen than I did Lavos. So I'm kind of glad it turned out I found the clone.
Yeah, I guess that, I think that highlights one of the early points of divergence. Aku went to the back of the cathedral, got themselves a Luca. You ran with the starting 3 the full way. Were you tempted to go back there with kind of what we were working with in the beginning, or what kind of leaned you one way or the other when it came to that choice?
I decided to wait on it until I could tell if, maybe, was I'm gonna have to go back there and check more for Robo than anything, because I always like to peek the Burrow character, saw that it was Chrono, so then I knew, back of Kath is either going to be Luca Frog or Robo. So I decided to pause on Robo, to see if he showed up later, and he did show up later. So kind of worked out that I didn't have to do it right then, and I felt okay. Especially once I saw Marl had Ice 2 in her techs, because with Ice 2, and re-raise, I didn't need to get magic for her.
Yeah, and then I guess my last question, and I'll turn it over to my co-coms here, see if they have any additional questions. We get to the future, we do our sealed doors, and you headed straight for the Genodome. What about it was calling to you tonight?
I think it's, timing wise, got to Genodome with enough time. I can't remember when I started it, around 35 minutes or so. And so, in that 35 to 40 minute range. And so I felt like I had time, and it didn't seem like any of, too many of the go mode items were available. And so I was thinking getting some levels and tech points, especially for Ayla and Magus would be good for that. And so I kind of leaned into it, and hoping that I, went through it efficiently enough to make it worth the while. And then, because I did that, at the end of Black Omen, I think I fought Zeal with a level 36 or something like that.
Well, Genodome was definitely a worthwhile play, because as this seed rolled, all 3 go modes were locked behind Genodome in one way or another.
Oh, how fortunate.
So we're also joined by
magic.
Akuheish with us.
Hello.
How you feeling, Aku?
I did everything except Geno Dome until the end. I was hoping for gate key anywhere else.
I think the only place gate key could have been worse was behind Woe, but I got a little more fortunate and took an early Geno, and that kind of led me where I ended up.
Yeah, I did Geno after getting Dark Mist from going to Woe. But even that was really late, and Dalton beat me up twice before I finally went back and took him out.
Yeah, there were some boss placements in this seed that were not so friendly. Dalton being one of them.
That was the only one that gave me trouble.
I had to leave the bridge and come back. I got an extra tech and then came back to the bridge. So didn't take too much extra time, but
Yeah, I went to the bridge, took that out my first time through. But I just wasn't feeling Geno Dome. I got both sword pieces at about 40-ish minutes. And I was just really hoping for gate key to go through Magus Castle. No, I was hoping for Frog over gate key. Like Frog and Burrow.
Mm-hmm. I'm sure as you learned, Frog was on top of Dactyl Nest.
Yeah.
Which is sadly behind gate key.
Right. Yeah, I was going through the Reptite layer when you finished. I found the Dreamstone with Prism Shard and Sunstone.
Yeah, between the both of you, we were able to see literally everything that Chrono Trigger has to offer. So you guys put on a great show. So does either runner have... the calm after the storm.
I know, sure. I gotta calm down a little bit and find a way to get to bed in the next 3 hours. But I think it was a good show of a first top 8 seed, and had some interesting challenges to it that were different.
Indeed. We do have 3 more matches this week upcoming on the Speedgaming networks. 2 on Wednesday, which is, what is today? 2 days away. It's Monday. Wednesday evening, I'll be in one. Myself versus Beauty and Discovery. I believe the winner of that, yes, faces Aku. And then we've got Dipwood versus Phone. And the winner of that is going to be facing whoever's coming down out of the Lord Batsy Naderade matchup, which will be happening on Friday evening. So a lot of action to come, and I'm looking forward to it. Any kind of final thoughts before we sign off for the evening?
I think I'm pretty good. Once again, I always appreciate the commentators and the people putting on the tournament. This has produced some really fun races so far.
Aku, any final thoughts?
No.
All right. Well, thanks to both of our runners. You can check out Akuheish and I'm All In on their respective Twitch channels. And thanks again to our wonderful tracker, Lord Batsy, keeping us all up to date with the tracking of items and placements as things happen. I'm Philosopher. We've got one free Fitz with us also. Thanks again for checking out Speed Gaming 4. And there's plenty more speed gaming activities and more Jets of Time randomizer later this week. Thanks, everyone. Have a good night.